Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to do a A-level question from paper 3, variant 32, October-November 2018, question 5 based on costing. The question states that F Limited was planning to introduce two new products, Product X and Product Y. The relevant data were as follows for Product X and Product Y. The units to be produced and sold each month, 4,000 for X and 1,000 for Y. Direct labors per unit, 2 hours at the rate of $8 per hour, and for Y it is 4.8 hours at the rate of $10 per hour. And the direct material per unit, 5 kilos for X at the rate of $1.5 per kilo, and for Y it is 6 kilos at the rate of $4 per kilo. The average number of hours to be worked by each production worker per month is 200 for X and 120 for Y. The average number of kilos of direct material in each order to be placed by purchasing department is 4,000 kilos for X and 1,500 kilos for Y. Then the selling and the distribution cost to be incurred by each product is $19,200 for X and $6,400 for Y. Furthermore, it is stated that the total factory overheads arising from the introduction of product X and product Y are expected to be purchasing cost of direct material $9,360, employment overhead for direct labor $10,080, other factory overheads $42,000. The director's policy is to set a selling price based on markup of 50% on the total cost per unit. The director asked two employees, Abdul and Brian, each to prepare a calculation of the selling price which should be set. Abdul decided to apportion the purchasing cost of direct material on the basis of number of kilos purchased and to apportion the employment overheads for the direct labors on the basis of hours worked. Abdul decided to apportion other factory overheads on the basis of unit produced. A. Prepare a statement to work out the proposed selling price per unit for both product X and product Y as calculated by Abdul. So let's make the statement. For this statement, we'll start with the working notes. First, let's calculate the total direct labor cost. To calculate the total direct labor cost, what we are going to do, we are going to take the unit produced, multiply it with the number of hours which are required to make one unit, and again multiply it with the rate at which the workers are working for 1 hour. So for X, we are producing 4,000 units, and the number of hours which we require for each worker to work to produce one product is of X is 2 hours, and the rate at which they are working for 1 hour is 8. So it will be 4,000 times 2 times 8, which will be $64,000 for product X. For product Y, the number of units produced are 1,000. The number of hours required to produce one product is 4.8 hours, and the rate at which the laborers are working for hour is $10. So the total direct labor cost for Y will be $48,000. And for direct material, again the number of products produced, which is for X it is 4,000, and number of kilos which are required to produce one product of X is 5 kilos, and the price at which we are getting the direct material of 1 kg is $1.5. So once we multiply it, we get the direct total material cost for X as $30,000, and for Y, the number of units produced are 1,000, and the number of kilos required for one product is 6, and the cost per kilo is $4. So the total direct material cost for Y will be $24,000. So now let's calculate the purchasing overheads. Purchasing overheads are apportioned on the basis of the number of kilos of direct material purchased. Apportion means to divide or to distribute proportionally, and we are going to divide the purchasing overheads proportionally between X and Y. So let's calculate the total kilos of direct material purchased for X. We are producing 4,000 units of X, and for 1 unit of product X we require 5 kilos of direct material. So the total direct material in kilos required for product X will be 20,000 kilos. And for Y, we are producing 1,000 units of product Y, and for one product of Y, we require 6 kilos of direct material. Hence, the total direct material requires in kilos for y will be 6000 kilos. As we apportion it between x is to y, we get 20,000 kilos is to 6,000 kilos, and when we simplify it, it will be 10 is to 3. So the purchasing overhead cost for x will be 9,360 times 10 by 13, and for y will be 9,360 times 3 by 13. Employment overheads, these are proportion on the basis of total direct labor hours. So the total direct labor hours required for product X will be, we are producing 4,000 units of X, and for each product we require 2 hours of direct labor, hence it will be 8,000 hours. And for Y, we are producing 1,000 units of Y, and for each product we require 4.8 hours of direct labor, so it will be 4,800 hours. Now we are going to apportion them on the basis of 8,000 is to 4,800 hours, and once we simplify it, we get 10 is to 6. So the employment overhead cost for X will be $10,080 times 10 by 16, and for Y it will be 10,080 times 6 by 16. For other overheads, we are going to apportion them on the basis of unit produce. X, we are producing 4,000 units. Y, we are producing 1,000 units. So the apportionment will be X is to Y will be 4,000 units is to 1,000 units, which will be 4 is to 1 when we simplify it. So the other factory overhead cost will be, for X it will be 42,000 times 4 by 5, and for Y it will be 42,000 times 1 by 5. Selling price, it is given that the selling price is based on the markup of 50%. We add the markup on the cost. Therefore, if we take the cost price as 100%, then the selling price will be 100% plus the markup of 50%, which will be 150%. With this, we did all the calculation required. Now let's make the statement of calculation done by Abdul. We'll start with the product X and product Y. Direct labor cost, which was calculated in the first working notes, will be mentioned here. Then the direct material cost, which was calculated in the second working notes, will be mentioned here. The purchasing overheads by kilos, which was calculated in the third working notes, we are going to mention it here. Then the employment overheads by hour, which we calculated in the fourth working notes, will be mentioned here. The other overheads by units, which was calculated in the fifth working notes, will be mentioned here. The selling and distribution cost, which was already divided and mentioned in the question, we are going to mention the same values here as 19,200 for X, and for Y it was $6,400. And after this, we are going to total up to find the total cost. Once we get the total cost, we are going to find the unit cost. Why we are going to find the unit cost? Because in the question it was given 50% markup was calculated on the unit cost. So first we are going to find the unit cost, and then we are going to find the selling price. So for unit cost, we will take the total cost and divide it by the total number of units produced. So for X it was $160,300 divided by 4,000, which was the total number of units produced. For X we get the unit cost as $40.08. And for Y, if we do the same calculation, that is taking the total cost divided by the total number of units produced, we get $92.74. Now we are going to calculate the selling price, that is, it will be 150% of the total unit cost. So $40.08 times 150%, we get for X the selling price as $60.12. And for Y, if we do in the same way, the unit cost times 150%, we get the selling price for Y as $139.11. With this, we complete this bit. Next, additional information is given. Brian decided to apportion the purchasing cost of direct material on the basis of number of orders made, and to apportion the employment overheads for direct labors on the number of employees working in the production. And Brian also decided to apportion the other factory overheads on the basis of unit produced. Prepare the statement to work out the proposed selling price per unit for both product X and product Y as calculated by Brian. We have already done the calculation for Abdul. Now we are asked to do the calculation for Brian. All the other things remain same. That is the direct cost, labor cost which we have calculated for Abdul will remain same. The direct material cost which we have calculated for Abdul will remain same. But here the purchasing overhead is differently calculated by Brian. That is, he is apportioning them on the basis of the number of orders. There it was on the basis of the kilos of direct material purchase. Here it is on the basis of number of orders made. Again, the apportionment of the employee overhead is also different. Here it is based on the number of employees working in the production. Here it is the number of employees, and there it was on the basis of total direct labor hours. So this is different. So these two apportionment will be different when we are calculating it for Brian. And then the next thing which is given here is to apportion the factory overheads. It is on the basis of number of unit produced. Even in Abdul's case, it was same, so we don't need to calculate it again. But only these two calculations will be required, and then we are going to make the statement for Brian. Now let's calculate the purchasing overheads. They are apportioned on the basis of the number of orders made. For product X, we require 20,000 kilos of direct material. And in each order, we are just purchasing 4,000 kilos of direct material. So the number of orders for product X will be the total requirement, which is 20,000 kilos, divided by what we are purchasing in one order, that is 4,000 kilos. We get the total number of orders for X as 5. And in the same way, for Y, we require 6,000 kilos of total direct material. And in one order, we are purchasing 1,500 kilos. So the number of orders for product Y will be 6,000 divided by 1,500, which will be 4. Now, we are going to apportion the purchasing overheads between X and Y in the ratio of 5:4. The purchasing overhead cost for X will be 9,360 times 5 by 9. For Y, it will be 9,360 times 4 by 9. The employment overheads are apportioned on the basis of employees working in the production. So for X, the total number of direct labor hours which are required are 8,000 hours, and each employee is working only for 200 hours per month on an average. So the number of employees which we are going to require will be 8,000, which is the total requirement, divided by 200, and for X we get 40. For Y, if we do in the same way, the total number of direct labor hours required will be 4,800 hours, and each employee is working only for 120 hours per month on an average. So the total number of employees required for Y will be 4,800 divided by 120, which will be 40. Now we are going to apportion the employment overhead between X and Y in the ratio of 40:40. If we simplify it, it will be 1:1. The employment overhead cost for X will be 10,080 times 1 by 2. For Y, it will be $10,080 times 1 by 2. Next, we'll make the statement for Brian's calculation. We'll start with the direct labor cost, which we have done in the first working notes, then the direct material cost, which we calculated in the second working notes, purchasing overheads based on the number of orders, which was calculated in the seventh working notes, employment overheads based on employees, which was calculated in the eighth working notes, or other overheads, which was calculated in the fifth working notes, and the selling and distribution cost, which was already given in the question. Then we are going to total it up to get the total cost, and after that what we are going to do is we are going to find the unit cost. And how we will do that? We'll take the total cost divided by the total production. We get the unit cost for X as $39.26 and for Y as $96. And then we'll find the proposed selling price by multiplying the cost per unit with 150%. For X, we will get $58.89, and for Y will get $144. Next, in the C bit, we are asked to explain the directors how to proceed with the setting of selling price. We have to support our answer with the references of the calculation done in the bit A and B, and we can also add further other factors. So I have given us answer stating that they should use the pricing as calculated by Brian, because Brian's calculation has been made on the basis of activity based costing, which will be more accurate, and therefore it will be more based on the realistic terms, whereas Abdul's calculation is done based on the absorption costing. For his calculation, it may be less accurate and less realistic, as traditional costing will have only one rate for allocation of all the overheads, whereas activity based costing creates multiple pool of calculations to calculate the overheads, and it will be more accurate. Hence, Brian's calculation will be more accurate if we are considering for pricing the product. However, both the calculations are cost based pricing, and in reality, to be successful in the market, the price should be on the basis of market based pricing, because when the pricing is done on the basis of market based pricing, we'll know that what the consumers are ready to pay and what the competitors are selling the product, what is the rate at which the competitors are selling their product, and what is the price at which the market is ready to buy the product. And if we do it that way, it will be more appropriate rather than doing it on the cost based pricing. And I've also stated that if they take up penetration pricing, it will be more easy to penetrate the market. And for this, what we need to do is we have to lower the markup and check what is the markup which our competitors are selling and at least keep the same markup or lower it, so that you can penetrate the market more easily and have more sales. In the debate of the question, we are asked to state one reason why the selling and distribution costs are not included in the valuation of inventory. You see, when we are valuing the inventory, the goods are unsold and therefore selling and distribution cost has not been incurred. And if still we include the selling and distribution cost, then it will be more subjective in nature. It will be based on the estimation of different persons. For one person, the means of transport may be cheap and he may estimate it as $100. For another person, the means of transport may be expensive and he may say it may be $200. So they may not be accurate as they have not yet incurred, and hence, based on IAS 2, we should not record the transaction unless they are incurred, so that they may be more objective in nature, that is, they may be supported with the invoice and the bill, and it will be more accurate. Apart from that, selling and distribution costs are not the part of the cost of sales. When we are valuing our inventory or making the statement for the valuation of inventory, we are calculating the cost of sales, and cost of sales includes the opening inventory, the purchases, the direct expenses like carriage inwards, and the closing inventory. Whereas selling and distribution cost is the part of the income statement which comes later on when we record all the overheads. Hence, as it is not a part of the cost of sales, we don't record it when we are valuing the inventory. With this, we complete this question. Thanks for watching and have a blessed life.